All right, welcome to the Get Optimized podcast. I am Chris Overlay, your host. And I don't know about you guys, but I have been seeing more and more beers here in the States that are coming out that are using New Zealand hops. And I've had this idea for a while. I was like, it would be really fun to have an episode that was talking about this kind of things in this neck of the woods, partially because, well, hops are just cool to talk about. I love doing that. But also, I think that the ingredients you put in your products help tell the story of those products. And it only makes sense to know more about those ingredients so that you can tell a better story. So today, we're talking New Zealand hops. Here to chat with us is Brian Clayton, the CEO of Clayton Hops, which just so happens to be a really big hop grower and producer, processor in New Zealand. So, Brian, thank you for being here. What's up, man?
Hey Chris, great to be here, mate. Yeah, stoked to be on the show. Thanks very much for inviting me. And yeah, how cool. Always love to talk a little bit about our New Zealand or Kiwi hops over here.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've seen tons of it around, and I love tasting all the New Zealand hops. It's almost a guaranteed. If I see something like that on the menu, I'm like, oh, I gotta try some of that. And honestly, I don't know that much about New Zealand hops. So I'm like, well, let's learn a little bit today from you. Who better than you to ask, right?
Yeah, yeah, mate. That's right. And I think the great thing about Kiwi hops is, so when I say Kiwi, I'm talking about our little mascot over here, the Kiwi bird. We kind of associate that with us New Zealanders. So our hops are more accessible than ever before, really, because we've got a bit of scale going here in New Zealand now. And we're throwing a few new varieties out in the market. We're also doing some nice innovative products. I think the industry over here is really taking a big jump up in the last, kind of 5 to 10 years. So, in America is actually a really popular market for our hop varieties. So, glad you're seeing them around, and yeah, definitely they offer point of difference, something new, right?
Absolutely. And it's different, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool and interesting. And a little bit of global flavors going on with stuff. And I'm excited to ask you all sorts of questions. You already brought up the Kiwi bird. I'm bringing up the Kiwi bird in one of my questions I have for you. But maybe let's start with a little bit of background on you. Like, how did you get into hops? Like, what's your background in this industry?
Yeah, so I got a couple of brothers, Glenn and Andrew. And to take you back, set the scene, we grew up on farms here in New Zealand, a little bit, probably 2 or 3 hour drive away from actually where our hop farms are now. So farming's in the blood, we've been on our family farm, I think it's about 100 years. So, we've always really kind of, I don't know, it feels like you're home when you're on the farm. So, we then kind of went to university, went our separate ways, did corporate careers, went overseas, did all that kind of good stuff, had a lot of fun. Then we all kind of ended up back in New Zealand, and we're always keen to come together and do something, in the agricultural, horticultural space. And we looked at a number of different things and settled on hops. Hops to us looked like an industry. Well, it looked fun, but it looked like some really good opportunity to take it to the next level in New Zealand. So in 2017, we bought our first farm. It was a sheep farm, and we converted it into hops. Since then, we've bought another 3 farms. They were all dairy farms, and we've converted them all into hop farms. Now we're about 1,000 acres of hops, which is by far and away the
Wow.
largest hop grower in New Zealand. That wasn't good enough, no. We've also thought, well, now we need to have some proper processing. So we've banged in a very modern and sophisticated, really cool processing facility for all of our products. And that was kind of primarily, T90s, right? Our bread and butter product, T90 hot pellets. But then we thought, well, actually, we can probably do a bit better than that as well. So we've installed we designed and installed a cryogenic processing facility to make enriched hot pellets as well. So these are about 40 or 50% stronger, more concentrated than just our T90s. And then we noticed that oils, highly flowable, efficient oil products,
Mhm.
that really piqued our interest as well. So we installed something in our facility to make that as well. So an oil processing line. We also, it's a lot, but the one thing I'd sum up here is a family business is pretty relentless, right? You're always kind of stretching yourselves. And then we went off and we cut a deal with Plant and Food Research, who's New Zealand's leading hop breeder. We're bringing new plant varieties to the market. They've just recently branded to Bioeconomy Science Institute, I believe. Um, yeah, so that's kind of the story. So we're relatively new, but we've covered a heck of a lot of territory, and we want to be something different. We want to be at scale, and we want to be cutting edge and innovative, and take kind of the New Zealand kind of industry to a next level, really.
It certainly feels like that looking at your website and your branding and like your guys' booths and things like that at CBC. You've got kind of a modern edge to what you present. And it sounds like the operation is reflective of that between the manufacturing side, the production side, and like product development. And I'm curious to ask you about, what your take is on some of those things like the concentrated hops, the oils and the extracts, and if you think that that is, really taking hold in the industry, because it feels like that's something that is valuable, right? Like you get more for less, kind of less space you're taking up with those products, higher concentration. There's mixed feelings about it in the industry. Maybe I'll just dive into that question right now. Is what do you think the feedback has been like on like the concentrated, the oils, and that neck of the products?
Yeah, so already we're seeing really nice uptick in what we call our Amplifire range of products. So Amplifier, fire spelled Fire. So thanks for the marketing team for coming up with that. So Amplifier comes. We've got two products at the moment. And you've called them out. We've got the cryogenically made enriched hop pellets, and we've got our highly flowable, water soluble, beer soluble liquid product. Now, what we're seeing, I mean, it's about, all it's classic, right? You see brewers come for lot selection, and they're all selecting different lots, and they've all got different takes on things, and that's the wonderful thing about the beer industry, right? It's the same with products. We need to be really innovative and keep up the pace and keep evolving because different people see different benefits in these products. So the oil is an amazing product, and that and the really interesting bit on the oil for me is it's a different raw ingredient, So most oil products out there are made from hot pellets, right? That have probably been sitting around for a bit, and they kind of need a home. So they're repurposed into oil. What we do is we take the wet green hop cones from the field,
Mm.
and we don't dry them. We extract the oil from them the same day as they're picked. And so that's the fundamental difference. And it's all about what we think it believes. What we're seeing is that first and foremost, this product adds really nice flavor and aroma to beer. That's first and foremost. It actually, we like to think it makes beer taste better, right? But then you've got all these different benefits. You've got it's super concentrated, right? And so warehousing it and transporting it is relatively easy. Our
Because you're
oil
not
has got
transporting, 44-pound bags around or
correct.
huge pallets of
Yeah,
pellets. It's a jug, that's got
yeah.
tons of the same level of basically what you need to brew the product, but less volume, essentially.
100%, mate. Yeah, yeah. So, like as you say, it's a jug. Say a 1 litre jug is equivalent to 50 kgs of T90 hot pellets, right? 50 kgs. That's 2.5 boxes. That's actually a really big area. So it's super concentrated. It's actually the oil is incredible value for money. It is far cheaper to buy oil than the equivalent amount of T90 hot pellets. It's we have just recently had an independent party do a carbon footprint study of all of our products. Took about 2 years to do this, but that we finally got the report out this year. The footprint of our oil is incredibly low. It is far, far lower than T90s. That includes shipping it to market as well from New Zealand, whether it's to London, whether it's to Shanghai, whether it's to, LA, wherever. Um, so
That was something I was curious about was like the sustainability angle for those, and if it is more
Yep.
sustainable or
Yep.
as sustainable as regular hops, it sounds like it is more, even with shipping, getting it like on ship.
Way more. Yeah,
Crazy.
way more. And it's because mainly it's so concentrated. So the way we did our study is how much product of each product type, T90, Amplify pellet, Amplify oil, how much you need to dose 100 liters of pale ale. And so it's all based on that. And you use a tiny amount of oil to dose 100 liters of pale ale. And also, we're not drying those hop cones. So drying is
Mm,
a vast amount of energy, right? So there's really massive savings on the concentration and also on the processing inside. Um, so yeah, we're really quite proud of this product. We think it's great. It's a wonderful product at a stand as well because people can come up, they can see it.
yeah.
They can smell it. You can dose it into beers. You can do really easy benchtop trials. So um,
And the
the oil
feedback's
is
been
really,
good
really
so
great.
far with the
It
brewers,
has been
folks
it's been
using it.
fantastic. The oil, it's a super product. It really is. Yep. Yep.
Nice. All right. Well,
Um,
oil's here, and it's it got some
Oil's
good stuff
here,
in it.
mate. But as I go back to, it's about all these other things are great. You get boosted yields as well, right? Because if you can use it instead of dry hopping, and that's all great. But at the end of the day, for me, the key thing is, does it make your beer taste better, more complex? And I think that's why it's doing so well because there's a big tick there. So I know there's a lot of people, kind of, they'll probably be thinking about, well, I'm not sure about oil, but yeah, I'd encourage you to give it a crack because, yeah, the feedback we've had invariably is this is just making our beers taste better. The amplifier pellets as well, they're going really nicely for us. I think that's a more kind of well-trodden path in the sense that the oil's super unique with the raw ingredient and what we're doing. There's the enriched palette is more kind of people know about it more, people are using it a lot. And it takes out some of the vegetative feel in the beer and it can increase beer yields as well, right? So that
Mhm.
in a way that's an easier sell because the product's kind of more well known. But obviously we're making that here in New Zealand, which is brilliant. And that helps with our carbon footprint as well, right? Having the product made here in NZ.
Right, right, right. Well, speaking of New Zealand, I also, wanted to talk to you about what's coming down the pipe over there. What's new? I mean, you guys are just about ready to start harvest, which is opposite from where we're at. We were just talking about this offline, is that the earth
Yeah.
is got different poles, and it's spring and summer in one part and winter in the other. And you guys are just starting harvest. So do you have any insight on what you guys are excited about for harvest coming up this year? Or
Yeah, so
for
as I said,
growing this year, not harvest,
yeah,
growing.
yeah, yeah. The hot plants are just starting to poke their head out of the ground at the minute. So soon we'll be very busy training them up the trellis system. How's it shaping up for this year? I think what we're really excited about at Clayton Hops, there's no two ways about it. We've got a couple of new hops that we're bringing to the market next year. We had enough of them both to send out to a bunch of brewers around the world this year, to get their feedback and all that kind of stuff. After many years, actually, of trial and in-house feedback and stuff like that, they're going to go gangbusters, I think. We've got, we call it the Clayton Innovation Project, CIP. So this year, the two hops coming out for next harvest are CIP014 and CIP076. There will be a cool new brand name for 014 launching before harvest, which we're excited about. I've just been looking at the graphics for that, and it's going to be something really new and something really different. And so we're excited about that, obviously. But the feedback has been really good for these two varieties.
Can
We've
you talk
actually
about
got
what
seven.
is like what's special about these ones? Can you give us any insight as to
Yeah,
what they are, what they taste like, or what's different
yeah,
about these ones versus what else is out there?
yeah, sure. So the CIP014, what I'm getting, what we've had the feedback we're getting is kind of it brings kind of sweet peach, juicy orange, ripe passion fruit, and sticky mango. Super versatile. From an agronomic point of view, it's a nice yielder. Interestingly, it is very high in free thiols. So we got the fancy lab in France to test this hop super high in some free thiles. So I think that's going to bring some. It's almost some of the feedback is like it's almost getting to Nelson Sauvin, but quite different. It's got some of that kind of Sauvignon Blanc character to it, but then it's got a lot of kind of sweet, juicy tropical fruit as well. So that's kind of the feedback on CIP014. It's got an alpha acid of 12 to 14% for New Zealand. That's actually pretty solid. You would call that a dual purpose hop for sure. CIP076. This one's got a bit of European heritage. It's kind of more kind of ripe orange, peach, nectarine, and mango. But again, just like 14, it's we think this is what we're really targeting. We think both of these are really highly versatile hops. They offer something unique in the flavor and aroma space, but they're really we're hoping that they'll be super versatile as well in the brew house for different beer styles.
I think that's important, having the versatileness that it can be used in different
Yeah.
styles and not just so singular style focus. Given the nature of craft beer
Yes.
right now, being able to do multiple things with a hop seems to make sense. I could see why you're thinking that.
Yeah, 100%. And it is. And when you're talking to brewers, they often give you that feedback. It's interesting. We've got another 5 new hop varieties, which will be the intent is to release them over the coming. If you do one every 2 or 3 years, it takes you out to 10 years or so, or whatever. Um, we've got one in the pipeline, which everyone goes, wow, this is so different. And then when you get that, it's probably not as versatile as other hops, right? But it could
Mm.
be just amazing in certain styles. So you get when you're a breeder, you kind of get into that a bit of a conundrum, right? But I figure I think where we're landing on that is there's probably room for all. And okay, it may not be that one may not potentially be a Citra or a Mosaic or a Simcoe in terms of acreage, but it could be a stellar performer in other beer styles, and it might only be a much smaller amount, but it still could be highly sought after. So it's really kind of interesting, and actually today. We've got a sensory session with our breeding partner here in Auckland, New Zealand. A bunch of brewers are turning up, and they are very lucky to be assessing the next bunch
Cool.
of hop varieties that we're planning to release. So we want to rank them and get obviously brewer feedback.
Nice. Well, if you're listening to this, that probably is out at this point. So look to the Clayton feeds for that information. It's gonna be cool. That's cool that you guys are doing that and getting some feedback and some live stuff. And then I imagine you guys are publishing that and saying, hey, here's what came out of it. Somewhere, right?
Yeah, mate, it's super important that we get as much brewer feedback as we can as possible, obviously. And it's when there's a few nuances when you're breeding new hop varieties. You can't it's a bit of detail, but you've got to be a little bit careful about what information you let out into the public light because um, with new hop varieties, and this is just a different topic altogether, but with new hop variety, may be interest to some people, but with new hop varieties, what you need to do is IP protect them.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you've got to be a little bit careful what information you hand out to the public. But at the end of the day, it's super important that we get as much brewer feedback as possible. And
Mm.
they'll be ranking all sorts of things. And one of the things will obviously be versatility.
You're right. It is kind of an under wrap situation until you've got the IP locked in. That's why these things are like experimental, such and such name, and your brand
Yes.
name that comes out. It's a whole process, and the stuff doesn't happen that fast. You're talking years of growth and genetic kind of looking at and testing and all this stuff before a hop actually becomes ready to start selling to the public, right? I mean, this stuff takes a while, from my understanding.
Mate, it takes ages. It takes ages. So CIP14, the reason it's got 14 in the name is because that's been around since 2014. So
Oh,
it is a
wow.
huge amount of effort that goes, hundreds of thousands of hop plants will have been disregarded. Different varieties will have been disregarded to get to this one hop variety. So yeah, it's a long time. And then what we're finding is once you're ready to pull the trigger, then you've got to be able to scale them up quickly at farm level, and even that takes time.
Yeah.
So it's a long game. Perseverance, resilience, belief, all that kind of good stuff.
The
But
farmer
at the end of the
spirit,
day, yeah, that's right. Exactly,
Right
exactly.
on.
Yeah.
One more question on New Zealand hops. I'm curious your thoughts. Is there like like some defining characteristics that separate New Zealand hops from like other regions, like Europe or German hops or New York hops or West Coast PNW hops? Is there something that sets that you can say, oh yeah, it's definitely a New Zealand hop? Is there something that is like characteristic to your region?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I actually reached out to our brewer. We've got an in-house brewer, obviously, in the team yesterday, and had a chat to him about this kind of thing. Now, so in his take on it is that New Zealand varieties, they're distinctive and unique, and that's in terms of different flavors and aromas that they impart. He said they're also that they're really versatile in the brew house, from hoppy lagers right through to hazy IPAs. So that's something that those kind of things. So we've had a plant breeding program in New Zealand here since I think the 40s, and we've got our own genetic stock right here in New Zealand. This is Plant and Food Research. And so we're breeding to our conditions, and our conditions are very different to the conditions in the rest of the world. For instance, we don't really have pests and disease over here, right? So we've got free reign to experiment. And we're not trying to produce a Citra or a Mosaic or a Hallertau, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to come up with something that's different. And so I guess that's it at the end of the day. They're often, Kiwi hops are often, because I guess just a genetic bank, they're often high in thiols as well, which can allow them to be expressive in beer. So I
Hmm.
guess, when you think about it, New Zealand's a little country at the bottom of the world surrounded by a bunch of ocean. And we've been lucky enough not to have to worry about pests and disease. And we just breed, we have a different genetic bank over here. And that's why our hop varieties ultimately are different. I also like to say that everyone that comes over and visits at harvest time, right? It's pretty picturesque. It's pretty amazing. And I think that kind of pure and green kind of New Zealand kind of sustainability angle, that is quite interesting as well. I don't think it's probably played up as much as it might be in, say, the next 10 or 15 years. I think things will evolve and maybe consumers will look more closely at it. But we are definitely a clean and green alternative as well. Just as I kind of alluded to before, we only have one pest in New Zealand. It's a little insect that can reduce hop yields. We don't have powdery mildew, downy mildew, all those horrendous things. So
Yeah.
we don't have to apply a lot of nasties on our crops, basically, compared to the rest of the world. So I think over time that will probably come more into play as well. So the uniqueness of
The
the
pest and
flavor
the
and
disease will
aroma, but
figure out
also,
its way to get there.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So when is harvest for New Zealand? You guys got to be like spring for us. So like what? Like I'm guessing April, June-ish. I'm guessing ish
Just
around
a
there.
bit earlier. Yeah, yeah. Late February and March is harvest over here. And so that's when it will be all hands to the deck, be super busy. And this year for us anyway, I think it'll be a relatively we're well played in now. When you think about it, we've done a lot of work since 2017. And now we feel like we've kind of, in a way, we've kind of clocked it in the sense that all the processes and all the infrastructure's in place. So something that we're really cool that we'll be doing this season is that every hop that comes through our processing facility will come from the field and be I'm talking about T90s, will be in a packaged box within 3 to 7 days of harvest, which is insane. Like that is incredible. And so we purposely installed some pretty awesome processing
Very
capacity at our
fresh.
T90. Like, yeah, super fresh. We want to take our pellets to the absolute next level. So that will be a focus this year. there's always got to be something, right? New and innovative that you're
You
trying
and
to
your
pull
brothers are
off,
like,
and
what else can we do to,
yeah,
make our
pretty
lives
much,
miserable?
pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Makes
Yeah,
me
it's
feel
been
like, man,
fun.
that sounds like a cool trip. Is like, right? During the dregs of winter here, be like, oh, let's go check out New Zealand for harvest time. That would be fun to do. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe you get
Quite a
some free
few.
labor. You could do a thing where you're like, oh yeah, come and
Yeah.
experience the hop harvesting and to make a vacation out of it. And you pay us actually to do it. New
Mate,
business model for you, dude.
sounds good to me, mate. Let's lock that in, shall we? I'm sure you'd have a bit of fun. Every year we get a lot of people from the States, actually, so all over. But yeah, I think lot selection is pretty important to a lot of American brewers, right? You do a lot of it up in Yakima and Oregon, all those kind of parts, and it does make quite a difference, right? Selecting your own hops.
Absolutely. The wet hop thing is really cool. People go and pick those up
Yes.
right from the farm and they'll go and select which hops they want and all that stuff. And the wet hop thing always surprises me. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. You're picking them up and you're brewing them within 36 hours of having those
Yep.
hops. So you got to be there right at the right time. It's like they're ready now. You got to pick them up and go. And then you're brewing and doing it. It seems like a fun thing. I haven't done something. I'm not a brewer, right, myself, but it seems like a fun thing to do for sure.
Yeah, well, that's just that's classic of the beer industry, right? Brewers are like incredibly passionate. They're artists, right? They want to make the best frickin' beer they can, and they go to that kind of lengths to do it. Often some of them doing roadies, right, and chucking the hops in the back and then doing a roadie back. Others will be flying the stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Others will be chucking on a boat. I'm just taking it from experience here in New Zealand. It is. They're so passionate, and I think that's one of the awesome things about the industry. It's the brewers are just super passionate, right?
Well, perfect segue. I want to talk to you about, what I want to do actually is have you kind of put your marketing hat on for a second,
Oh, yep.
and think through this. So, we kind of opened up the episode saying, hey, there's like the story to tell about the ingredients that are in your beer. And I'm curious what advice you might have for brewers in, anywhere that are using New Zealand hops and like how to tell that story about those hops to differentiate their products, right? More than just saying, hey, this is a New Zealand, we use New Zealand hops in this, but like, is there something that could be told about the story to help paint a better picture of what that product is, according to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think and we always love it too. There's the obvious channels, right? Like on a can, I often I'm super interested to read the stories that people put on cans, right? And I'm a little bit biased, but I love it when they're going right back to the provenance, to the farm, right? And they're mentioning where they got the hops. Um, and that obviously then parlays out into the social media world and all that kind of stuff, right? I love that kind of stuff and those kind of collabs. And it wouldn't surprise me if that stuff does resonate with the consumer. We've even had people put photos, well, not photos, but they've done illustrations of, for instance, our Blue Rock farm, right? And which is a stunning hop farm, and they've put that on the can, right? So I think the storytelling, it wouldn't surprise. Look, I'm not a marketing guru, and I don't know, US customer preferences, but I do love that kind of look. This is where some of these products have come from, and the story behind it. I love that, and going back to what I said before, just I think New Zealand hops they do bring a different flavor and aroma and a different feel to your beer. So I think, and as you said, when you go into a bar, if you see some Kiwi hops, you might be quite intrigued to try them, right? And it's because they do bring different things to beer. So I think there is some really good stories, and
There
I
certainly is.
do, yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely. I think there is, and I do feel like we're seeing it all around the world. It's not just America. We're seeing it in Australia. We're seeing it in Asia. We're seeing it in Europe, the UK. For whatever reason, Kiwi hops are actually really quite popular at the minute, and it might be as simple as just what we're discussing. They are a little bit different, and this does give the brewer a point of difference because I think particularly craft brewers, right? They're looking for a point of difference and they're looking for a story. They're looking to bring their beer to life, right, and get in front of people so those people can enjoy, the awesome brew that they put in front of them. So yeah, I think there is a really good story with Kiwi
Just what
hops
you
for
said
sure.
about like the farm and where the stuff comes from, and like
Yeah,
all it takes is like one question, it's like, yeah, we got this particular hop variety, but like, hey, quick question, Brian, like where did this come from? What farm? Oh, it's this
100%.
really cool farm, and they're family owned, and this is who they are, and they got sheeps
Yeah,
on the farm, and they do all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, that'd be really cool to put on the can and in the story about this beer.
100%,
I just gotta
man.
ask,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and like with hop growers, you can actually, well, with us anyway, you can trace where the paddock on the particular farm or the field on the particular farm where the hops actually grew. So yeah,
Oh,
the,
that's
the
cool.
provenance piece, I think, um, from a farming point of view, it's easy to tell you the story there, and yeah, I think it's a great marketing spin, but ultimately, hopefully the beers are tasting great with the Kiwi hops in them.
That's got to be part of it
That's a
too.
good marketing.
Got to taste
It's a
good.
good marketing technique.
Good marketing technique is having a nice taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got to ask you too about the Kiwi bird because sometimes we've done it. We've designed some labels where we know they're using New Zealand hops. We're like, oh, let's do a Kiwi bird on the label. And I wanted to ask, my resident Kiwi guy here, like, is that kosher? Is that cool to do and use the Kiwi bird, or is it played
Oh,
out, or is that like cultural appropriation? Or like, what's your take on using the Kiwi bird as part of the kind of brand design, packaging design kind of aspect with these beers?
damn, Chris, you put me on the spot there. That's fraught with risk. I suspect the Kiwi bird is okay. Would be my gut feel, but
Well, you're
I
speaking for all
suspect.
New Zealanders right
Yeah,
now.
I'm trying to, mate. I'm trying to. Um, yeah. So I don't know. For those that you don't know, the kiwi is a small flightless bird in New Zealand with a really long beak, and it comes out at night time in New Zealand and forages around. And that is synonymous with New Zealanders. It's kind of like our national mascot, really. Um, and I don't really know. I actually see the kiwi used a lot, right? You'll
Yeah,
see it. It might be on a hop can, and it might be like kind of in a picture of a cloud, or falling hop cones in the shape of a kiwi. Or I do
right.
see it all the time. I don't know what the official line on it is, but you see it all the time. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we
you're probably
we look
okay
up
there.
like, oh, what's immage that's reflective of New Zealand? It's like the kiwi bird just comes up. It's like, oh, let's use that bird. It's a
Yeah,
cute little bird, and it
yeah,
looks cool, and people seem to know what that is. So I was curious
yeah.
if we were heading the right direction or not with that, and you gave a good answer. So thank you. Um, right on. I guess to kind of wrap things up, kind of get us towards the end here is tell us about, what's going on with Clayton. I mean, you kind of talked about some new products that are coming out, but for those folks that are like, all right, this seems really cool. I want to get my hands on some New Zealand hops. Maybe I haven't done that before. How do they get involved with you? What is working with you look like? And tell us about that.
Oh, cool. Well, it's really easy. We actually recently set up an online shop. So we warehouse our products in America. We warehouse them up in Yakima, Washington State. So we've got a warehouse up there with all our products in them, and you can simply just go online onto our website, which is just claytonhops.co.nz. You can just go into our website, click the shop button, choose the US warehouse, and it's pretty much that easy. So you don't need to worry about long lead times. You don't need to worry about those lovely duties, import duties. It's
I
all
was going
kind
to
of
ask
taken
about that.
care
I'm
of.
like, do you have to ship them all the way from over there? But if you got them in a warehouse here in the States, that makes it way easier for sure.
Oh, it's super easy. It's super easy. Just go into our website, go into the shop, and a few clicks, and you can buy. And you'll what I reckon. I challenge the viewers out there to go and try our Amplifire Oil. First of all, you'll be shocked at the sticker price. It's incredibly price effective, but also it's an amazing product. I can't speak highly enough of it. So why don't you go in, spend, I don't know, it might be 40 or $50 to get 100 mils of oil, and try
Give it a
that.
shot.
And I reckon with a bit of luck it'll blow your socks off. But it's a great product, really inexpensive, and that will be a really nice and easy way to start your journey with Clayton hops. But we're very keen to make it as seamless as possible, and I think the new online shop has been a bit of a masterstroke.
It
Actually,
looks
it's probably only
beautiful.
4 or 5 years old.
It's
Oh,
a
thanks,
beautiful
man. Yeah,
website, man.
thanks,
You guys did a
thanks
great
very
job with
much.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, look, it's classic. You get into all these different parts of the business, and the amount of time that goes into creating a shop that looks good, that's really super easy to use. It's a lot of time and effort, right? So thanks very much for that. Much appreciated.
Oh, I know how this stuff goes. And you can tell when you find a nice one, you're like, ooh, all right, dude. You kind of give the head nod to whatever the web developer was. I've never seen him before. But like, all right, you
100%.
did a good job, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's we've got a German guy, and he's he's great. So he's pulled it out of the hat for us. So pretty stoked with that, actually.
Well, right on. We will put links in our show notes. So that website that you probably didn't write down, we will add it to our show notes. We will add information about Brian and where you can connect with him, as well as all the Clayton Hops socials and all that stuff. So don't feel
Thank you.
worried. Just go to our show notes and look for those links. And yeah, I encourage you to go check it out. Grab a jug of that oil and give it a shot. Brian, thank you so much for joining me on here talking about New Zealand hops and all that stuff. I really appreciate your time, man. This has been fun.
Thanks, Chris. Mate, it's been awesome. And as I said, thanks for your patience hanging in there, mate. We got there, and it has been really fun, and it's a great. We really appreciate the opportunity, actually. Thank you very much.
Anytime. We'll see you at a conference coming up soon, probably.
Take it easy, mate. Thailand next week. See you there.
See ya.